going on, guys? Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Ready Gold Standard podcast. My name is Zach Hernandez, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host, Matt Llewellyn. And tonight we're going to be previewing, the 49ers versus Raiders final preseason game. Matt, how you doing this Friday evening?
I'm doing pretty well, Zach. Let's hope for no injuries in the game or in the stadium for that matter. It's the first time the Raiders and the Niners are playing, so let's hope no stabbings this time.
Yeah, no injuries to players or fans in the stands, that's for sure. While you guys are here, hit like on YouTube, subscribe on YouTube. We're trying to get to 2,000 subscribers. Help us reach our goals. We can give away a 49ers jersey. Also, if you're watching on Twitter, hit retweet, favorite, follow. We're trying to reach 10,000 followers on Twitter. 2 different chances to win a 49ers jersey. Now that we got all the plugs out of the way, let's get into it. Matt, some of the biggest air quotation news that came out today. Richie James, one of the most loved 49ers players currently, is out 6 weeks with a knee injury. Yeah, I think I could guess where you're going with this one. Does that spell the end for him?
I think so. Well, I don't know. It depends. It depends on how the other receivers do, but I think that it's one of the final nails in the coffin. If it's not that gets him, off of the team, then it's one of. It'll be interesting to see because they have to make it the final cut down to 53. And so the way that it works this year, you have unlimited IR spots and you can bring people back, but they have to make the 53-man first. Otherwise, they won't be able to return. So it'll be really interesting to see what they do with Richie James and how they approach this. So we'll see going forward. Hopefully there's no other major injuries on, coming out of the game, so that, they can make that determination strictly based off of what they think they're going to do with Richie James.
Yeah, I agree. It's tough. And, Sunday against the Chargers, there was just a little bit of, 2 plays. I think he had a nice return and 1 catch. And it's sad that even that amount was like, oh, something from Richie James. It's like, yeah. Hopefully something happens once he gets healthy. But the thing is, now other guys, it's on them. Do you step it up? Guys like Nsimba Webster, guys, obviously Trent Sherfield, I think is basically all but a lock at making the final 53.
I think so.
Yeah. Something else I thought was pretty interesting today at Kyle's press conference was he called Jalen Hurd one of their, best 6 receivers. And I'm like, there's a giant asterisk missing in the room when healthy. Do you agree with him?
Right. I don't know what he is. I don't know if Jalen Hurd is talented or not. He doesn't, when has he ever played? He's literally never played in an NFL game that counts. So, I assume that he's playing on Sunday. He better do something and come out of that game healthy. Otherwise, all the talent in the world doesn't matter if you can't be on the field.
Yeah, I agree. It's tough because it's like it did what we saw from him against the Cowboys way long ago. It seems like when I was a child at this point. Is that the real Jalen Hurd? Is that what we have been missing out on this whole time? Or was that just a fluke, because it's preseason and who the hell knows? It's tough. I think what's so intriguing about him is, his build, because he's a big receiver. He's physical. And he looked good. He looked good when he was healthy. So there's just that thought of what if, and I think Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch are both kind of holding on to this, the prospect that he could return to that or even, become that at some point. I did think it was interesting, though. It seems like there's still, I don't want to say leaning towards having him make the final 53, but I don't know. If I were to get something from their quotes and from their interviews, it seems like they're trying to get him to make the final 53, but
right. Yeah. But it's, again, you're going to get a lot of chances when they put a 3rd-round pick into you, and I think that's all this really is. Yep. They have him under contract, and it doesn't make a ton of sense to cut him. So they're just trying to see if they can get anything out of him, to be honest.
Yeah, definitely. Also, real quick, Melissa has this new Trey Harris shirt. I've had it for a while. I guess I've just never worn it. Shout out to Warriors World. They got some really cool 49ers merch. This one's dope from them. They got it right when he got drafted. But yeah, I think that the whole Jalen Hurd talk is really going to depend on how the next week shapes out. Obviously, I think Kyle even said, he might play and we're going to go from there. They were talking, I thought was interesting though, in the press conference, Kyle was talking about how there's pluses and minuses to not having that fourth and final preseason game, because there are guys that you probably would have not had make the team showing enough to make the team. Do you think any guys possibly that you would imagine this year might make the team that probably won't if there was a fourth preseason game?
It's hard to say. I think that there are guys that made an impact right away. And because the starters played so little in the first two games, you got a really good look at a lot of the real fringe guys. So I don't know that I agree from that perspective. Maybe it's just like you don't get as big a mix of, first, second, third team to kind of see how they do against a little bit better talent. But overall, I think they've gotten enough look at these guys like Jonas Griffith has stood out as a guy who looks like he could be a player, and that's somebody that they're going to want to stick around. I don't know. It depends. I think that maybe a fourth preseason game would give more clarity to the running back situation in terms of, is Gallman going to make the team? Is Hasty going to make the team? Can Elijah Mitchell be better than either of them? We don't know because Mitchell hasn't played. Maybe that fourth preseason game could have showed a little bit in that regard. But overall, I think the guys that you potentially cut, I don't know that they're going to be huge impact guys that you're going to miss overall.
That's fair. Yeah, it's kind of tough to predict the future and what ifs and whatnot. But it's an interesting conversation to have, because a lot of the talk around eliminating the fourth preseason game, at least up until now that I thought about it, was positive. It was, oh, thank God we're getting rid of that fourth preseason game. Nobody needs it, especially now that they're extending the season. But there's also the downside that there's less chances for guys to put good film out there for either their own team or other teams to get picked up if cut. So it's interesting, but I do think that there are some guys that might come down to, I know Kyle even talked about Travis Benjamin, Webster, guys like that, either veterans or young guys who, with all due respect, need all the help they can get. So it'll be interesting,
right.
But I thought Webster looked good as a return man last week. So we'll see against the Raiders what happens. But I do think that there are going to be some tough cuts coming up, and you always hate to see it.
For sure.
The next topic I have for you, Matt, and I thought this is interesting, and it kind of saw a little bit of debate going back and forth on social media in the last couple of days about it. And it's, the whole idea that offensive coordinator Mike McDaniel and Kyle Shanahan have been talking about how they're going to use both quarterbacks throughout the season. Do dual quarterback systems ever work?
This is going to last like 2 weeks. Anybody who thinks this is going to go on the whole season is just fooling themselves. They're trying to give Trey Lance this job. They're giving Jimmy Garoppolo the opportunity to screw it up, because you're gonna see them each week against each other until it's obvious that Trey should be the starting quarterback, and then Jimmy Garoppolo is going to get benched. It's that simple. They're not doing this the whole season.
Yeah, the immediate example people love to cite is, well, Drew Brees and Taysom Hill did it, and they were
not
successful.
The same.
It's not the same at all. And Jimmy Garoppolo is not Drew Brees, okay? And with all of that, not even that.
And Trey Lance is way better than Taysom Hill, and they're not going to line him up at wide receiver. Exactly.
I mean, Taysom Hill just got beat up by Jameis, so that says a lot. But I do think that.
Hey! It's post LASIK Jameis Winston, so he can see now.
That's true.
Maybe now he'll throw to the guys in the same color jersey as him.
It's interesting because we've talked about it multiple times. Obviously, all of the 49ers podcasting community has, and it seems like the consensus out there is Kyle doesn't want to just metaphorically slit Jimmy's throat out there and say, you're gone, we're going to put Trey in. It's almost like he wants to gradually.
No, but he can't. That's the problem. He can't without pissing off some of the vets.
Yeah. That's fair.
It has to be readily apparent to guys like George Kittle, to guys like Mike McGlinchey that are on the Jimmy Garoppolo bandwagon, that it has to be Trey. Trey will go out there and, run a red zone drill or whatever, and they'll score a touchdown. And then maybe the next possession, Jimmy Garoppolo throws one of his Jimmy throws and it's a pick. And then in a real game where wins and losses count, not this preseason stuff where who gives a shit if you win or lose, because it really doesn't matter. You're trying to get out healthy and you're trying to run plays. In a real game situation, like if they come up in, against the wall in Detroit and it's like Jimmy's not getting it done, but then Trey does. When it's real wins and losses, those veterans are going to come around and be like, oh, God, okay, it's time. And then Kyle doesn't have to worry about it. They painted themselves into a weird corner by spending so much to, draft Trey, spending so much money to keep Jimmy Garoppolo on the roster at $27 million that they put themselves in a rock and a hard place. And the locker room, I feel, is pretty divided right now. And when that it's no longer divided and everybody's on board with Trey, that's when Kyle's going to be like, done. Switch.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, that's kind of why it's like he's doing it gradually, because I think it needs to be done gradually. We've talked about it last week on Niners News. This past weekend, we basically, said, look, it's a tough, delicate situation that you need to approach with some finesse, and some touch, because if you do it gradually, it's like the whole team, it's like, in a vacuum, it's going to be crazy. So,
well, it's not a sustainable thing, not only from a locker room perspective where, the old saying, if you have two quarterbacks, you don't really have one. This is not that case because both can be actual starters. It's a little bit different, but I don't know. You go from Jimmy Garoppolo, who's going to, I don't buy that BS that Kittle can't take it when he went to Iowa with CJ. He works every offseason with him. It was close to Nick Mullins. It's different, though. It's different. It's just different.
So for the people listening,
it's different. CJ Beathard and Nick Mullins are not the same as Jimmy Garoppolo. It's not even close.
It's like moral support from George.
Yeah, look at the record. Look at the record.
Yeah.
Like Jimmy Garoppolo wins, and that's all that players care about. They want to win.
Yeah. For the people listening only, just real quick, the comment here is from Melissa saying she doesn't buy the BS that Kittle can't take it. He went to Iowa with CJ Beathard. He works every offseason with him, and he was close to Nick Mullins. He's been with all three quarterbacks all years, but 2019 is business. And yeah, Matt was saying that they're not the same level because it's almost like they're buddies and it's moral support. It's not genuine. No, you should be the starter and I'm going to go all out for you, in my opinion, at least.
Well, and I don't agree with Chris Sims on nearly anything he says, but they were talking about this the other day when they were talking about CJ Beathard and Nick Mullins and stuff. And he said, listen, Kyle can make chicken salad out of chicken shit. And those two are terrible quarterbacks. Terrible quarterbacks. They're both going to be lucky. I mean, Mullins is not, I don't think Mullins is making that Eagles roster. I think he's gone. And I can't even remember where CJ Beathard is. Is he in, where is he? Oh, there you go. Could have fooled me.
He's challenging.
He might not make that roster because Gardner Minshew's there.
Yep.
A lot of these teams, not every team is the 49ers and carries three quarterbacks. Most teams carry two.
Yep.
So,
and Kyle Shanahan basically said, we're only going to rock with two this season, but it does say a lot. I thought he said it today, something like that, along the lines.
See you later, Nate Sudfeld. Then,
yeah.
Not that they can't go get him if they need to.
I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was something along the lines of
Here's my thing: if you get down that far in the depth chart again, you're in trouble anyway. So it really doesn't matter. Just whatever. But when we're going to the idea of a dual quarterback thing, people are thinking this is going to go all season long. It can't. Not only from the team perspective and the vets and stuff like that, but just from a football perspective. So you got Jimmy Garoppolo, who's coming in and he's throwing these like pillow soft floating passes, and then you're going to have Trey Lance come in throwing piss missiles at everybody. Yeah. Like that's not going to work. There's going to be a ton of these, Jimmy's not throwing it hard enough, so it gets picked underneath, or Trey threw it too hard. It went through the dude's hands and it's tipped and it's picked. You have to adjust. There's an adjustment period between quarterbacks when you're looking at one guy who throws a certain way. Famously, Jerry Rice said that he had problems when Steve Young first came in because he's left-handed and the ball spins the opposite way. These things matter. So just from a logistical football perspective, I don't think it can last long because if they're actually going to interchange them like they say they're going to, it's going to cause all kinds of problems with the wide receivers, and they're not going to enjoy that.
And I think we've already seen some of that in the couple preseason games that we've had. How many drops from the wide receivers just because there's so much heat on the ball from Trey. And they're just not used to that with Jimmy. Jimmy doesn't have that.
And part of that's Trey, of course.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there are some of those passes you got to catch. That one to Richie James, he's got to catch. So
yeah, no excuse. Brandon Ayuk's had a couple. Obviously, there was the two that sparked a lot of debate, but we won't go into those. Speaking of Ayuk, Matt, there was the news that he was injured and he will not play Sunday against the Raiders. And it was not, I don't think it was a serious injury. I'm trying to find it here.
Yeah.
Oh, I think it was a hamstring injury.
Yeah.
What is it with the 49ers and hamstrings?
I mean, that's just every NFL team. I bet you if we go and look at the injury wire on every other team, they got like 6 dudes with hamstrings. That's just the nature of football. It doesn't sound serious. And, Jason Verrett came up as somebody who might not play. There's a couple others. And this is just them being real careful. This is just who cares about preseason. If you're healthy, we'll get you in there. But any little nick or scrape or whatever, we're pulling you. You're not going to play because the 49ers know this season is going to be won or lost based off of their health and their ability to stay healthy. So they're going to be extra conservative with the players that, that have these little nagging things. So,
yeah, that's fair. I mean, it just seems like, I don't know, maybe because I only focus on the 49ers, but it's always a Niners thing, especially with these receivers. Fernando Ariana says, I'm surprised Jaquiski Tartt is back from an injury. I thought it would take him longer. That also happened. They activated him from the, I think it was the PUP list, right? Was that surprise you at all? Is that just simply for the rules roster wise?
This is to give him a test run. And if he can get out there and he can go and he can do the things that he needs to do, they'll keep him on the roster. If not, they're going to IR him before the 53. This is all that is. He hasn't practiced at all. He's done some rehab work and stuff like that. But even Kyle, when he came out in the press conference, he's like, we hope he can play. We hope, we think he might, we may, those type of, he doesn't know. So Tartt can do all the running in the world. He can do, the little cuts and stuff like that against air. But in an NFL situation with the adrenaline pumping and you got to make those hard turns on the field, that it's really going to be the first true test to see how that toe is going to hold up. And they need to know. So if he can make it, fantastic. If he can't, they're going to IR him. And it's going to be that simple. And then somebody else who was potentially going to get cut is going to make the team. So for me, it's as simple as see what you got.
Yeah. All right. Hopefully he can come through, man, because Tartt's talented.
Yeah.
And, he just signed this 1-year contract extension this offseason. We'll see what happens. Also, Dre Greenlaw is out with a hip injury. Minor injuries, according to Kyle Shanahan, keeping it safe, like you said.
Kid gloves.
Yep. So the list that will not suit up against the Raiders, Richie James, Ayuk, Greenlaw, Verrett, D Ford, and Nick Bosa, and those are all either maintenance or injury related.
Right. And there's no reason to put Bosa out there. Like, really, honestly, it's just, I know we got a comment in here, beat the Raiders on Sunday. No one cares about that. No one cares. It doesn't matter what the final score is.
Show us what you got.
Right. We want the players that are on the fringe to either show out or get out, and we want our starters and frontline players to get some reps and stay healthy. Because it's all about week 1 in Detroit. It's about getting there. It's about starting the season off right. That plain and simple.
Ace Daddy says Tartt not healthy. He should get cut.
I mean, if he's on injured reserve, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah. There's not much of a benefit.
They can, he's on a 1-year deal. They can cut him for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Melissa says, it's just me or Tartt being back a bit fishy with Hufanga balling out?
They have to see what he can do. Because if he's coming to him saying like, hey, I can do it, the team doesn't necessarily know until they put him out there and see if he can do it.
Yeah. And Hufanga looks good, but if you were to put them right now, both, in snap for snap, there's going to be a clear drop off between Jaquiski Tartt and
I don't know. It would be clear.
You don't think
it'd
so?
Be that. Nope.
Okay.
No, because that turf toe is a serious thing.
Okay. Asterisk if healthy. Yeah, you're right.
Jaquiski Tartt at his best, sure.
Yeah. That's what
but we don't know if he's at his best. We don't know if he can maintain his best. Maybe he comes back for a little bit and then week 3, that toe just gives out. Again, turf toe is, it goes one of two ways. Either it resolves and you can get past it, or it becomes something like Patrick Willis where it leads to early retirement because it dogs you throughout your entire career.
Yeah.
So
we we talked about it a little bit on
Yeah.
Niners News, but we had a doctor DM us, said that he loved the show. He wanted you to just go into a little bit more of turf toe. He says that there's a giant misconception about it, and a lot of fans thinks it's just like stubbing your toe or rubbing your toe wrong. How serious is it for an athlete like Jaquiski Tartt or Patrick Willis to deal with,
It's serious. It compromises the big toe joint, and that's like it's one of the biggest foot stabilizers that you have in terms of quick, agile movements. So it's essentially like an extreme hyperextension of that toe, and it really screws up that ligament and causes a lot of pain, a lot of inflammation, and it can be debilitating. And because, the feet in general have poor circulation, even if you get a surgical repair, there's no telling how good it's going to be or how long it can last, because you're not getting the type of blood flow and, which is vital for recovery, that you would get in like an arm or, the further up the leg or whatever. So those things can be really, really tricky to get past. So again, they have to see what they have in him.
And is there basically the only thing you can do is rest? I mean, I know you mentioned surgery, but it's like, yeah,
you can try, but I mean, if it's a really bad case of turf toe, it's just like, it's one of those things where like, once you get that ligament stretched like that, you can't really necessarily, it doesn't necessarily go back. It's not, it's connective tissue. It's not something like, it's hard to explain in really simplistic terms, but it's connective tissue, which is not super elastic. Okay. So once it's stretched, it's stretched.
It's not gonna. It's like a Laffy Taffy.
Right. It's like think of it, and it's not the exact same mechanism. So please don't come at me in the comments. But it's like somebody who dislocates their shoulder, right? And then each subsequent time, it's just easier and easier to dislocate that shoulder. And you just never know, even if you get it surgically repaired, you can still, stability, it becomes the real issue. And even little things, maybe one time he cuts and it's perfect. And then the next time, maybe he just has some internal or external rotation of the foot that just completely screws up that type of, that plant and causes pain or inflammation. They just got to see, because they won't know until he gets out there.
Yeah, it sounds pretty serious. It does, and it's tough, but we wish Tartt the best.
I know it's funny because it's like a lot of times on I remember NFL Primetime or like the old ESPN shows and stuff. They used to like rag on dudes that had turf toe. Really? It used to be like a joke injury, but it's a serious injury. Any injury with the foot is bad.
Yeah. I mean, hey, they used to deny concussions existed too. So.
Yeah, very true.
Yeah. Melissa says Kyle has said he makes up his mind before last preseason game. So does that mean in Simba Webster, based on the last two games, makes it, or does Richie injury do so?
I mean, I think Simba Webster is going to make it just based off of his special teams ability. Mm-hmm. They don't really have a choice right now with Richie James injured. Not that it was much a choice ahead of time, because, I mean, Richie James, again, statistically is one of the worst returners in the NFL. And it's not even close. I think he was like 98th in kick return yardage.
It was tough.
Like kick yards per return or whatever.
Yeah. She added on, I heard someone saying Simba shouldn't make it based on special teams alone. He has to be able to wide receiver on offense and be able to block like Shanahan wide receivers. Would you be disappointed he got in over Benjamin, who can also perform special teams duties?
That's not necessarily true, because if he's on special teams, not just as a returner, but when they do kickoffs or whatever, and he's a gunner and he can run down, there are players with special teams utilities, and there are guys that they specifically keep for their special teams utilities. And if he can do that, then that's fine. He wouldn't, again, if you're getting to wide receiver 6, you're not doing it right. So he can be wide receiver 6 and still contribute on special teams and on returns.
Yeah. And I think, like you said, you're very far down the depth chart at that point. We're not thinking of, guys that are going to play 90% of the snaps per game. It's a very small percentage. Right. And if you can contribute with the spark on special teams the 49ers had so desperately needed, that's enough. That's more than what we've got so far.
Yeah, you don't need him to go out there and get, 7 catches for 80 yards every game. That's not his job. His job is to do better than 5.8 yards per kick return and what is it, like 15 yards per punt return or whatever it was. It was terrible. If so bad, I had to go so far down the list that I scrolled back up like 3 times because I thought I passed him. And like when your brain just skips over a name,
Yeah.
and I looked and legitimately no.
That's hilarious. All right, Ace Daddy says move left tackle Moore to right guard. Jalen Moore.
They originally drafted him to play guard, but he's shown versatility, and so he's going to be that swing line player. I think whether it's at the tackle spot or if they want to fill him in, that's what they're going to try to do with him. I think.
Yeah, and
he's got a minor injury too, by the way, which hopefully resolves itself.
Yeah, I thought he looked better against the Chargers, definitely, than he did against the Chiefs. I mean, but that's not saying much, obviously. But yeah, I like to see that improvement. He stayed in there. He kind of worked through it, and he wasn't getting completely obliterated like he was week 1 against the Chiefs. So that was nice to see.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. I thought this was funny. There's not much to talk about, but John Lynch was on CamBR, and he asked if he was concerned about Bosa, Ford, and Kinlaw returning from injury. And he said, yeah, I have concerns about the health of the other teams that have to play him. Nice, sick dad joke from John Lynch there.
Hey, man, got to work him in when you can.
You gotta. I just thought about this immediately. Like, I really hope this tweet doesn't come back to haunt us in a couple of weeks or a couple of months. But
you know what though? If they're healthy, I agree with him.
Most definitely.
He names those 3, and then you're not even at like Eric Armstead and DJ Jones and Contavious Street and Arden Key and Maurice Hurst balled out before. Like, dude, there are so many. Samson Ebicam, like,
it's deep, dude. It really is deep.
Yeah. I mean, we saw it against the Chargers. There were definitely some good pass rushers. Jordan Willis with the safety. Ebicam got it wasn't God, was it a sack? I think it was a sack.
It was a sack, yeah.
Where you could see him engaged in the line and you could see him just follow the quarterback through the blocking. And he was like, he knew where the quarterback was. And so it was a good heads up play from him. Another heads up play from Eric Armstead where Easton Stick ran past him and stepped up in the pocket, and then Armstead was able to get him from the backside because he didn't give up on the play. So, and those aren't even like the top flight guys. If the top flight guys are in there and healthy, look out, man. They're going to be really, really good.
Yep. Throwing Contavious Street, Baby Hulk. He looks great. Jake Hutchinson posted a video.
I said him.
Did you? Oh, my bad.
Yes,
I must have missed it. Okay. Well, adding on to Contavious Street, Jake Hutchinson of CamBR posted a video, I want to say about a week and a half ago. And his off the ball get off is so quick. It was insane how quickly they did the whole D line, and he was easily the fastest on the line at getting right off the ball, right on the snap. And it's really impressive to see because somebody with his injury history, it's nice that his size can move that quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be nice. It's deep, man.
Yeah.
It's real deep position. And we're going to lose some guys on that defensive line that we're like, oh man, that sucks. Be prepared. We're going to lose a couple names on there that the team like that the fans will not want to lose. So
it's going to be tough.
And I feel like Seattle will probably sign them all.
Yeah, I feel like you could see it in Kyle Shanahan's face today already, like just the gloom and doom, knowing what's to come.
Tough decisions,
man. It really is.
Tough decisions. Yeah.
Melissa asks, "Do you think my worst nightmare, Tom Compton, finally gets cut, or Eric Banks bought him time?"
Nah, we can get him out of here. I think. I feel like you can get him out of here. He sucks.
Yeah. Is Marcel Harris a safety or linebacker now? He converted, right, to linebacker, I'm pretty sure.
I think he did. Yeah, he's going to be a nickel linebacker, nothing more.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. And he's been playing pretty well.
Yeah, he plays pretty well when you don't ask him to cover people.
Yes, he's a nice hitter, and he's good in, shallow coverage. Melissa says, John Lynch also talked Talanoa Hufanga. He did. He said opportunities in the NFL are earned. That's what he's done. He's vying to start for us. I don't know, Matt. Yeah. I got a good feeling about Hufanga. Something.
Yeah,
I get hesitant.
I do too, but then you come in here saying Tart is far and away better than him, and I just disagree with that, man.
Whoa. Fully healthy Tart.
I don't even think that. I don't even think that either.
I think so.
At certain things, yes, he's a better athlete, but I don't think Tart's as good a tackler.
That's fair. I think overall, Tart at 100%. Hufanga right now.
I want to see who's the better ball hawk because nobody in our secondary is really a ball hawk.
Seriously, I'll give you that. Yeah, I'll give you that one.
So I know that Hufanga was playing single high and showed really good range and instincts during that. So I think that there could be something there. So
he looked
I don't
good.
know.
I'm excited for him. There's like this infectious energy, and I'm gonna end up eating my words probably, but it reminds me of a couple of years back when Adrian Colbert entered the league. And remember how like the hype was around him? What?
That's messed up, dude.
I knew
Don't
you
put
were gonna have that
Hufanga
reaction.
in the same breath
I'm
as
just
that,
saying
dude.
the fans' reaction, the energy, just the hype around it. It was similar, and Colbert balled out his rookie year. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to follow that up. But I'm just saying the anticipation.
Dang.
We'll leave it at that. You're gonna clown me for that
Zach, we're not on the same page tonight, man.
Apparently, I have to center myself on my own podcast.
No, you can say what you want. I'm just gonna roast you for it.
No, I'm kidding. Fernando says Trey has pushed Jimmy. I think we're seeing a better version of Jimmy. John
Coach
Lynch.
speak.
He's
we're seeing the exact
same
Jimmy. The exact same Jimmy.
Yeah, I agree. Let's see. I'm no Eric fan, but do you actually think if the interior he'll be better? I'm hoping Kinlaw Jones stay healthy. If he plays,
I think he is better on the interior.
Yep, that's where he's.
Yeah, he made all his money playing next to Nick Bosa.
And Defoe, yeah.
No, like literally Nick Bosa.
Oh, yeah.
Literally, before Nick Bosa came, he had I think his career high in sacks was like 4.5, and the year Nick Bosa was there, he got 10 sacks. Coincidence? I think not.
Yeah. Hey, guess what? Nick Bosa's back, so that's fine with me.
Yep.
Fernando says Jimmy Ward on Talanoa Hufanga, who ran a 4.640. I don't know what he ran in his 40 time, but on the field, it feels like he runs a 4.3.
Yep. That's the same thing with Jerry Rice. Jerry Rice had a notoriously slow 40, but he played faster than what his 40 time would say. Some people that's a hand in the ground sprint. I'm interested to see what his splits were because I'm willing to bet that his 10-yard split was pretty slow, probably.
Yeah.
Because he had to go from a 3-point stance to sprinter stance to upright and running.
Yep. Talanoa Hufanga and Demo Lenore are diamonds in the rough.
Yep. This team is really good at 5th-round picks, man.
Adrian Colbert intercepted Nick Mullins.
I think I intercepted Nick Mullins last week, so it's fine.
I think Lynch is scared of only having one guy at quarterback again, sees it being lost because of it, plus he so wants something for Jimmy's departure.
I disagree.
Maybe if they traded him.
These are professionals. They're not scared.
Yeah.
You have to say that or you risk alienating the vets on the team. That's just what it is. Because Jimmy's a well-liked leader in the locker room. Yeah. You can't just go out there and shit on Jimmy. You can't do that. Yeah. They're not trading Jimmy, by the way, guys. He's here for the entire season.
Yeah. He's not going. I don't think he's going.
No, he's not going anywhere.
2 first-rounders or something.
Yeah.
I don't think they're leaving.
If someone gets real desperate.
Yeah. Did you happen to see when they asked him if he has any idea who's going to be the starter, and he just had a giant grin on his face?
Yeah.
I have a pretty good idea. Read into that what you will, I guess.
Yeah.
A lot of people did.
It's not about who starts the season, though. It's about who finishes the season.
Boom.
Spoiler alert, it's going to be Trey Lance.
Matt's seen this season already. Yeah. The writing's on the wall.
You can see it. You can see it.
Yep.
Again, if they're going to have the same floor, take the guy with the higher upside.
Yep. Fernando says Kyle Shanahan said he plans to play starters for about half against the Raiders, but he'll pull them earlier if satisfied with the work.
They'll play like a quarter.
You think so?
Yeah.
So
because the Raiders aren't going to have their starters out there, and they're not going to risk their starting guys against guys that are tryhards that are trying to make the team. That just reeks to me. That reeks to me like the headhunting hit on Justin Fields. That's a dude who's going all out, going crazy because he wants to make a name for himself and make a team. And it led to, not that he's a dirty player, but it led to an illegal hit. So you don't want to put Jimmy Garoppolo in that. Jimmy Garoppolo gets hit like that, Trey Lance is starting day one. You know what I mean? Because that was I saw on the replay, the backside replay from behind, where you see Justin Fields' eyes.
Yeah.
Where he's like
he looked like he didn't know where he was.
Right. And I'm just and immediately I go, dang, dude. And he had epilepsy too. And I was like,
that's right. That
I
was a tough
watched him.
hit.
I was like, dang, but he popped back up. I mean, that's
He's
cool.
tough,
And
dude.
I mean, honestly, with the epilepsy thing too, by the way, I just said it because it's, a lot of people are thinking it, but childhood epilepsy oftentimes resolves itself by the time you become an adult. So
I remember going into it when we were anticipating the 49ers drafting him. Yeah.
He looked good though. He looks good.
Yeah.
I cannot for the life of me fathom why they're starting Andy Dalton. Yeah. Anyway, that's a different team though. They're stupid.
Yeah. We'll get it. Yeah.
What I would like to see though, based on what I would like to see is that even after you pull the starters, I think that you need to leave Trey Lance in there for a while because he desperately needs reps. A lot of the stuff that you're seeing, the throwing way too hard, because in practice, he doesn't do that. From all accounts, he throws a very catchable ball in practice.
Yeah.
He's just too amped up. He's played 2 games in almost 2 years.
Yep.
So any amount of snaps that you can get him out there and play him, I think it's worth it.
Yeah, I agree. And I also think that what I want to see, hopefully, okay, hold on. Before I get to that, my what I've been thinking this whole time is this last preseason game when there were 4, none of the starters played. And nobody's talking about how it's not weird at all anymore, how that's not a thing. Like they're just going to still play the starters and then rest them after about a quarter. Like, don't you think that they should still just treat it as that last one? Or do you think just because there's 3, there's not enough to just not have the starters play an entire game?
Because they should treat it as the same because they get 2 weeks off.
Okay. That's fair.
So next week would be what would have been the 4th preseason game, but they're going to get a rest day and they're going to practice to get ready for the Lions. So every team gets 2 weeks off. So yeah, no, you got to play that as your dress rehearsal because you can't do it in the second game and then go 3 weeks in between actual game action. You're going to get too rusty.
That's fair. Okay. I like that.
So
yeah, I never thought about it like that. But yeah, as far as what I want to see from the final preseason game for the Niners, Trey Lance, obviously, I mean, it's just a given at this point. Let's see some.
I think he needs to play
ball
into the 3rd quarter.
I'd love to see that. Yeah,
I
agree. Wide receivers separate themselves. The rookie corners, Lenore and Thomas. Thomas, can you get
Lenore Lenore's doing great. I think Thomas is having some struggles, and so reps are going to be super important for him too.
Yep.
I think they're going to start too because I don't think Mosley is going to get much run, if any, and I don't think Verrett's going to play. So they might actually start Lenore and
against Ruggs and
Thomas.
I forget what other receivers the Raiders have.
Although maybe Kwan gets a little bit of play. I don't know.
Yeah, he wasn't listed, and the player's probably not going to play. All right, let's take some comments. Ace Daddy says, how many DL we keep, Willis or Key?
I don't know. I don't know how many they're going to keep. They're going to keep a lot, though. It's going to be one of the deeper positions for sure.
12.
But we are going to lose. No, they can't keep that many. They are going to lose some guys, though. They are going to lose some guys.
Yeah. Willis or Key? I'd go with Key.
To keep?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd go with Key. He's got more cachet, and it looks – the way he's looked and the way that people have described him and Maurice Hurst, I think that there's something to the fact that they were both very disgruntled with what was happening in Las Vegas with the Raiders.
Yep.
And because they're so highly touted, remember, Maurice Hurst was almost a surefire first-round pick, except he had that pre-draft heart condition that dropped him. So, Oh, Steve in the chat, by the way, with a great save. I forgot about that. Jordan Willis is actually suspended.
Okay.
For PEDs, for the PEDs. Yeah, I think it dates back to last year. They're allowed to do the preseason stuff, but
that's right.
They can't do. Yeah. Anyway.
All
Thank you for that, Steve. Good shout.
Yeah. Thanks for always catching our slip ups. Some more comments in here.
Yeah.
What's up? Sorry, I was late installing the new LEDs on my Jeep. Thanks
Sick,
for tuning
dude.
in. Yeah, hope they came out good.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah. Hit like, everybody. Hit the like button right now.
Exactly.
Or else. Hit subscribe as well. Hit follow on Twitter. Fernando, wow. Trent Williams, quote, very few people are better after a major injury than they were before. I played with Nick Bosa before and I played with him after, and he's definitely better. That's pretty
cool.
rare. Yeah. And that's saying something.
That's pretty cool.
Nick was a hell of a player before. So I'm hyped to see him after, man. And especially with that serious of an injury. It's tough. It's tough to come back from. Thoughts on Welker trying to get the wide receivers to catch better. Did you see this video?
No.
I have it right here. Let me pull it up. It's funny. I don't know if you can if I can share the sound. He's throwing that ball hard.
And that probably still ain't as hard as Trey Lance throws it.
No.
He's trying, though. He's trying. Yeah, he's trying.
So the tweet says Kyle Shanahan went to wide receiver coach Wes Welker and said, your boys can't drop any more passes. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. But yeah, I do think that it was it's interesting to see. And hopefully it turns into something, because we've seen a lot of drops. So I think you're muted.
Sorry. A lot of drops. A lot of them that were, a little bit behind, and, like a couple that were like really bad, but still, I remember the Richie James, the outplay, that was somebody that had to get, that was just a straight up drop. It was a bad look. So yeah.
Yep, I agree. Josh Up says, did Trey throw those fastballs in college?
Actually, funny enough, when you go back and watch the tape, and this was something else that I heard too, where in college it looked like he only had okay arm strength because he oftentimes took a lot off of his passes. So this seems to be just something he's a rookie, man. He knows he has 3 first-round picks behind him. He knows that he's trying to beat out an incumbent starter. So he's out there and he's squeezing a little bit, he's got a little bit of the yips, as it were. And he's just throwing seeds everywhere he can. So he'll get it. He'll get it eventually.
Yeah, I think he will. It's only a matter of time. Running backs, Elijah, be nice. I also like to see Gallman and Hasty fight it out more. So this is a video we did for today's Niners News episode. Mm-hmm. And we got a good amount of people going back and forth. Yes, Hasty is surpassing Gallman, making him expendable. No way. Gallman's a better veteran. He's a better pass blocker. Kyle values that more. We'd like to see what you guys think in the comments. Let us know what you think. Is Michael Hasty making Wayne Gallman expendable? Matt and I both basically agreed. It seems like it. Yeah. Gallman's or Hasty.
They still rolled Hasty out there even though he had fumbles, which means Kyle really likes him, because Kyle don't suffer that shit. We didn't see Matt Breida for like 7 weeks after a fumble.
And then he went to Miami.
He fumbled in like week 15 of the regular season, and we didn't see his ass till the Super Bowl.
Yep. Joshua says, I don't understand how we find gems in the late rounds but can't draft that well in the early rounds. That's funny. We talked about this in Niners News.
Yeah, they stretch, man. They stretch. They could have had really good players. They could have had Creed Humphrey, who looks like he's really good. They could have had Asante Samuel, who had a pick against the 49ers. So, I mean, round 1, they do okay. I mean, but round 1's a 50-50 crapshoot anyway. Round 2, like 2 and 3 are like round 3 especially. They do a pretty bad job in those rounds.
Yep. Thanks for tuning in, Sin. I'm just glad we got so many. Josh, I hope Juwan Jennings can be one of them with Greenlaw and Kittle, etc. Juwan Jennings has shown promise. I'm really excited.
I like him.
Yeah.
Oh, we got a super chat.
Happy almost start of the season, Matt and Zach. Thanks for all you do. Do we have any Matt rants tonight?
I know,
gotta get mad.
I know. It's gonna depend. We're gonna see. Yeah. Although I will say this. And I've said it a couple times throughout the show. Man, you guys gotta stop caring who wins fucking preseason games. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. It doesn't count. Okay, yeah, like look at the last 2 0-16 teams. The only 2 0-16 teams in the NFL. They both went undefeated in the preseason. Like, you literally want your people to do the stuff they need to do, get some reps, stay healthy, and you want the young guys to show out. The final score only means that one team's scrubs were better than the other team's scrubs, because we all know that there's going to be a turnover fuckfest in the middle of the field in the 3rd and 4th quarters, where it's just sloppy football that you could see in like the Mountain West Conference on Saturdays, right? Every Joe Schmo from Holy Cross and like whatever, Providence or whatever, out there trying to make a roster, trying to earn their $5,000 game check for a preseason game. They probably are like trying to get in as an equipment manager just so they can be around the good old days, right? Like Al Bundy in a shoe store with his hand down his pants going like, hey, Peg, I got 4 touchdowns in a high school championship game. Preseason wins don't mean shit. Okay, that was it. Okay. Sorry. That, you know what? It shows my age too that I watch Married with Children. Like half the people in here are probably like, what the fuck?
I was going to say Al Bundy.
Like Al Bundy, who's that? Come on, man.
People know him from Modern Family more now.
I know, right?
Yeah. That's
dude,
hilarious.
I've only watched like bits and pieces, like random episodes of Modern Family.
It's good, dude. I owned like basically every season on DVD besides the last like few. When Ash and I first moved in together, we didn't have cable. So that was like the series that we got into.
Gotcha.
It was cool. It was cool.
Nice. It looks pretty cool. Right.
Yeah. Thank you for the Matt Rat.
Hey,
and thank you, Hung Fat.
Cinnamon Kiss knows. Cinnamon Kiss knows about Al Bundy. Good stuff.
Yep.
Good stuff. Yeah, that was a good show, man.
Yep. Matt Rance the greatest
young Christina Applegate was one of the best things in my early childhood too, by the way.
Yep. Personally, want Hasty and Gallman over Mostert, but I doubt it'll happen. Gallman is a lot like Wilson Jr. I hope we don't lose that kind of running back, but yeah, Hasty should make it. He'll be picked up if not. Over Mostert.
Yeah, I don't know if I put him over Mostert. I think Mostert's pretty expendable though.
Oh, okay.
I don't think
comment here.
I don't think he's as good as everybody thinks he is.
Think his speed's overrated?
No, I think he's got really good speed. I think he's like a one-cut foot in the ground type of guy. I don't think he has a lot of wiggle, and that's why they don't run him between the tackles that much.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's fair. I mean, it's fair criticism.
And the only reason I want to get rid of Mostert is because he held the team up for money last year and then got injured. Like an asshole.
That will never, you'll never let that one go. But it's fair. Man. It's fair criticism. 19-0, whatever the record Baltimore has a preseason doesn't help if Lamar can't win playoff games. Yeah, they haven't lost a preseason game in years.
Dude, Cowherd went on a rant about Lamar Jackson this week, and I was just like, I don't know. It was, and then Nick Wright was like insinuated that it was like a racism sort of thing, and that was a weird flex, but no, dude, like Lamar Jackson's really, really good. But once his athleticism goes, if he doesn't refine his passing, he's going to start to struggle as his career goes along. That's just it. And you see it in the playoffs when it comes down to all of the good defenses that he typically struggles more. And that's not a knock. Again, it's not a knock. It's a constructive criticism of things that you hope to see Lamar actually improve. Not because you're like Lamar is a piece of shit or whatever, because he's not. He's absolutely a superstar in the league. You just want to make that like superstardom last longer, you know? Like that was the one thing. Michael Vick was so dope when he came into the league, and everybody loved watching him. And he didn't refine his passing, and it caught up with him as he got older, and he was no longer the 4-2 guy, the fastest guy on the field. The same thing's going to happen to Lamar unless he really refines that passing. That's all that constructive criticism should come from. If it's anything more than that, people are just jerks.
I agree.
Because he's fun as hell. He's fun as hell to watch.
He is. And the one knock on his game has always been as a passer. You need to work on your throws. You need to work on your accuracy. You need to work on your deep ball. And
there's a reason why Mark Andrews goes so high in fantasy drafts now. Because that is like the guy that Lamar loves to throw to. You know, he loves his tight ends. Yep. So.
Hunk Fat says, thank you, Matt.
You're welcome.
Thank you for the super chat.
Ask and you shall receive.
You guys see how they are hyping up Zach Wilson. I'm not trying to be a hater, but every team he has played against didn't play starters at all, not even second strings.
He's looked really good, though.
Yeah. Some of the throws are still impressive.
His ball placement is nice.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's got a lot of zip, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like Zach Wilson. We got some Zach Wilson haters in our group chat, but one in particular,
Christian.
Yeah, but I mean, it's going to be. I have a feeling that he's not going to work simply because it's the Jets. Although tough. I watched a little bit of Sam Darnold today, and he's still got happy feet and makes some bad decisions. So, who knows?
Fernando. Oh yeah. Okay, so this I missed. Fernando says, happy for Joe Staley joining the 49ers NBC Sports Bay Area. Hope becomes an O-line coach. Shout out to Joe Staley. That's awesome.
Yeah, good for him. I wish I don't really get NBC Sports Bay Area live, so I'll just have to catch what he does on YouTube after the fact. But it's really cool. Joe's a good dude. I love that brick by brick where he's standing there with Laken Tomlinson and he switches sides and he's like, nah, man, this doesn't feel right. And then goes back to how they would line up on the field. It's this feels safe. This feels protected. That shit was funny, man.
That's funny.
It got me. It was funny.
Yep. There was a comment that I thought from Trent Williams' press conference today, and they asked him how you guys feel, whether it's Jimmy or Trey behind you. Is there any difference in how you guys play or how you block? And Trent basically said, no, we do our thing. They do their thing. They're two separate things. Yes, we're protecting them. However, it doesn't matter who's behind us or their style of play. Do you think that that's true?
I don't believe that. No, I don't believe that.
Yeah, I didn't either.
Simply because Trey is mobile. So once he breaks pocket, that's when things change and it's not exactly the same. So, something that would be a legal block, maybe Trey takes off and Trent Williams is engaged and can't see Trey, but the defensive lineman does. And so the defensive lineman breaks towards Trey and that causes Trent to do a holding or something.
Yeah.
Right? There are levels to this. Or maybe the protection's pushed a certain way and Trey decided to go a different way. And then, there's so many myriad things. Although I do think that it can be a bonus too, where you get Trey off schedule and the defensive backs don't know what to do and can't cover the receivers. So it's a little bit of both, but I don't think it's exactly the same. Maybe it is. Maybe it is for Trent Williams, who's just so damn good. It probably doesn't matter to him anyway. But for the other guys, I think it does.
Yeah, I agree. I was like, that seems a little fishy to me. I don't know if I buy that. Also, I thought it was interesting in that same press conference when they asked him about his injury that he had in practice the other day. It seemed like there was an issue, and he basically said oh, that was a blooper. You guys weren't supposed to see that. I'm not trying to throw anybody under the bus, but we had a depth issue. And I just thought it was interesting. He kind of seemed like he's super classy, always classy, but maybe somebody did the wrong move or went the wrong way and he got mad at him. And I think he was a little upset that got seen by reporters and stuff. Just
it is what it is, man.
Yep.
It is what it is.
When your body's worth that many millions.
Yeah. Ace Daddy asking, keep your league Eckler 5th round or Keenan Allen 4th round. I don't draft Chargers, so that I can't help you there. I would tell you stay away from Chargers.
Although Keenan Allen has been my one good solid pick for the last few years.
I mean, in all honesty, if you can get the value, Eckler in the 5th is a pretty good value. Keenan Allen in the 4th, depending on your league, that's a little rich for Keenan Allen.
I was just gonna say Eckler's Steve's guy. Steve's drafted Eckler for as long as I could. I think as long as I've known him, he's talked about having Eckler on his fantasy team.
He's okay.
Yeah. Melissa says that was the best bought with the right and left thing. Probably from Brick by Brick.
Yeah.
Trent Williams pancake or Kinlaw sack interception. What do you want to see first?
Both in the same game.
Give me the pancake. I'm a Noel guy.
Zach's hungry.
I'm hungry. Yeah, I haven't eaten all day.
Zach's hungry.
I had my overnight oats. That's about it.
I'm going to go Kinlaw sack / interception because we know Trent Williams is going to pancake dudes. I still firmly have in my mind that running play that they ran against Buffalo, and Trent Williams just smashed it, dude. Yeah. Just smashed him. I was like, oh my God. He was so fast on that play too. I was like, we got him for what? How cheap?
Yeah.
I mean, not now because we paid him, but the draft compensation was all right, good job being dysfunctional, biscuits. Washington.
Pennies and biscuits. Yep. We're going to be wrapping things up here, guys. Send in your questions, whether it's for the game, whether it's for just the Niners in general. We love to answer them. But before we do, we got to say thank you to our sponsors. And the first one is Acre Gold.
Here comes the stamp, ladies and gentlemen.
Matt calls it the stamp. I forget what he called it last week when he was out by himself here, the plug. But go click the link in the description. You can start buying gold for as little as $50 a month. Once you reach the market price of 2.5 grams, they will send you 2.5 grams worth of gold and this beautiful gold bar. I don't know if you can call it a bar, but that's what they're calling it. So we will roll with that. Also, shout out to 81 Vino. This is the wine by 49ers legend Terrell Owens. Go to 81vino.com, code Hive for 10% off, and it'll also get you free shipping on 2 or more bottles. And last plug for the night is shop49ershive.com. You can grab that Trey Lance graphic that you see behind me right there. That is available in clothing as well. I just have it on a print. Use code RGS15, RGS15 for 15% off your entire purchase. We got Warner Bread merch. We got Trey Area merch. We got Trey Draft Night merch. So go pick it up. Support the channel. We really do appreciate it all. Let's get into these comments and questions.
You know, you read that more professionally than me, but I think mine was more fun. Although I think the sponsors probably like the professional aspect.
I caught yours afterwards, and I was just dying. I had to get out.
I was pretty deep in at that point, guys. I was pretty deep in.
Yeah, you were like the gold stamp. You could put it on letters.
Yeah, I think I said you could put it on an envelope. It's all right though.
Yeah, put it on an envelope.
It's all right. It was my first time, man. Hey, I was intoxicated, by the way, and I still remember to get those things in. So
you did. Got to give you credit. You held down the fort. Fernando says 1979, Steve DeBerg was a 49ers veteran starter. Bill Walsh inserted a rookie named Joe Montana into some red zone situations. That's what I'm thinking Kyle Shanahan implement like Bill Walsh did.
I think it's just a direct comparison. I think he's going to put Trey Lance into situations that are easily succeeding, like they're easily succeeded plays, and Jimmy is just going to do his Jimmy stuff, and it's going to become kind of a thing where Trey just looks better, and that's going to win over the guys in the locker room. And as soon as the locker room decides, then Kyle could be like, all right, done. Kyle's trying to take it out of his own hands.
Yeah, I agree. I just think it's tough. It's a tough situation, and like you that's the best way to put it, honestly. Yeah. He's trying to not be the one making the choice. He's trying to let the choice kind of make itself. And it's almost like when, you know, obviously I don't have kids, but you have to, like, you can't force your kid a lesson. Like, you have to have them learn it themselves. And I think that's kind of the situation here with the Niners. They need to see themselves that Trey Lance, the players that is, because the coaches I'm sure know right away. Trey Lance is the better option. If it takes a couple of weeks to get there, fine, but they'll get there.
Yep.
Trey Lance stat predictions. Maybe what do you want to see? What would you hope for?
Better completion percentage, better ball location, less sacks.
Okay, I like that. Mobility. I don't know if that cap or that lock is still on his legs from Coach Shanahan. Let's see.
Yeah, I don't expect them to run. I mean, they got to try a little bit, but it's still going to be like vanilla concepts. Even if they do run some like read option stuff, it's going to be like super limited read option.
Let's see if there's another deep.
I just want to see how freely he changes between the two.
Okay.
Like, is it series by series? Is it going to be play by play? Is it going to be situationally? It's going to be interesting while Jimmy is still in there. If he switches them on the same drive, that'll be.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like, if he's doing the 2 quarterback system, this is dress rehearsal game. You got to at least try to have some semblance of your offense out there. So.
Yep, it's tough. Especially when you're taking away momentum, play by play. Yeah. We do have some great sponsors. Thank you very much, Sin. We're very grateful. And if you guys ever want to partner, anybody watching, Zach at 49ers Hive, Matt at 49ershive.com. Send us an email, shoot us a DM. You know how to get in touch with us. And also hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, guys. We're getting super close to 2,000 subscribers. Feel like I've been screaming it at the moon for months. Once we get there, we're going to give away a 49ers jersey. Premium content, not to brag.
Get a jersey, guys.
Get a jersey. Win that jersey. Hit that subscribe button. Hit the follow button too on Twitter. Kinlaw pick 6 from Jared Goff is what I want to see first. That would be hilarious.
Hey, likely though. Jared Goff's stinky.
Yep. We're going through the comments, guys. We're not forgetting you. Do you think E-Man will bounce back or be like Spoon in a tailspin with competition at his heels?
Nah, Emmanuel's a dog, dude. He's just. Yeah, no. Spoon's problem was always between the ears.
Yep, just like Dante.
Yeah,
you guys are hilarious together.
We do our best.
Thank you. We're entertainment. Goff being owned by our defensive line is a must watch. Love seeing it.
I think they're gonna have like 7 sacks in that game.
Yep. Oh yeah, Matt, you were great on your own. Just love it more from both of you. After all, you're the dynamic duo. Thank you.
I appreciate the compliment. Great, I think is a stretch, just from what I remember of it. But it was hard. I think I went an hour and a half.
You went a long time.
It was on my own, and I think that I was fueled by a little too much beer, but that's all right.
Gets the job done. Which wide receivers do you have making the 53? This is tough.
Ayuk, Debo, Sanu, Sherfield, Jalen Hurd probably, and Jawan Jennings. I think they're going to carry 6.
That's a good 6.
I think Travis Benjamin's going to be like that last like heartbreaking cut. Although no, they're going to keep 7 because I think they're going to keep Simba Webster.
I could see that. I agree.
But I forget about him because he's not, to me, like a special teams guy. You might be listed on the depth chart as like a wide receiver, but you're not. I don't really count that towards the wide receiver count.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's a good 7 though. The ones you just listed. It's tough to beat that. Is Kinlaw the most intriguing second year for you guys because Ayuk has been disappointing me?
How so? How's he been? Yeah. How has he been disappointing you?
Maybe with the drops.
Like he had the 2 drops, but I don't even put the Garoppolo one on him.
Too high.
That thing was like fingertips. Like when you watch it back on replay, that was like fingertips.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know. I wouldn't say Ayuk's been disappointing though. I think Rusty maybe. I don't know. But it's hard.
Just, yeah, I mean, he had that drop from Trey Lance, but like I said, when you're going from Jimmy Garoppolo pillows to Trey Lance piss missiles, it's gonna be hard to catch that. Like piss missiles. Have you never heard that term? Have you never heard that term?
No, I've never heard that.
It must be like a baseball thing.
It must be
like seed. Seed is another baseball term.
Never heard it.
He threw an absolute seed. That's usually when you see like a right fielder throw it all the way to third on a rope. It's an absolute seed. Absolute piss missile. Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Hurd's going to be on the 53. If he can keep it together for the next week, I'd love to see what he has.
Me too. So. I think everybody wants to see what he has. I still have questions whether or not he's actually going to play a regular season game ever.
I hope so, man.
I guess we'll see. He's supposed to play, right? Sunday?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see.
Jonathan says, I don't have Twitter. I always hear about 49ers Twitter, though. I heard it's pretty fun.
Fun is a word to describe it. Sure.
At times.
Sure. Sometimes it's a disaster. Just depends on what you're in the mood for, brother.
Yeah.
Twitter's like that, though.
Yep. Hung fast says, make it Twitter. Yeah, you should do it, man.
Yeah, do it.
It can be if you follow the right people. We can also be aggravated just being honest about Twitter.
Yeah. He's going to have it for like a week and be like, now I know I don't have one. Delete.
Right? I know. My headspace is horrible. It was a very fun show with Matt alone, but you guys are the greatest male duo out there.
Hey.
Thank you, Mariah. I appreciate you. Shout out to your show. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Appreciate the love, guys. It's like Matthew Slater for the Pats. He's listed a wide receiver, but purely plays special.
Exactly.
Great.
Exactly.
Great reference. Jalen Moore is getting better. You think guard is still a concern?
Yep.
Needs work.
It's gonna be.
Sorry, right guard. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fun or toxic? Polly says about Twitter.
That's Twitter in a nutshell.
When Jimmy G is gone, who do you want the team? What do you want the team? To do about the backup quarterback?
I want them to get a backup that's similar in play style to Trey Lance.
Oh, you know who's out there?
Robert Griffin III.
That's one too.
Oh, don't you dare. Don't you dare. Don't you dare. It's bad enough that Madden made him an 81 overall. I edited him and made him like a 3.
Do you think we have the next shark on this team?
No.
Probably not.
That's hard to come by. Yeah, K1 is such a good corner. As a slot corner, my God, he's so good.
I put Zach and Matt on the same level as Bert and Ernie, top notch. Thank you, Steve.
Bert's the yellow one though, right? That's Zach because my head definitely ain't that shape.
I don't remember them. I remember them. I don't know who each is.
I
49ers
think it's
Twitters.
I think it's more like Pinky in the Brain. Zach's Pinky. I'm just kidding, guys.
It probably is, though. That's hilarious. 49ers Twitter is like a Jimmy G throw. You'll never know what you're going to get, but you might have some fun.
Yeah, and you might face palm because the throw was so bad.
Yeah, you might send out a tweet that's equivalent to throwing it right to a linebacker and get ratioed. I'd rather keep Jimmy G as a backup. That's a pricey backup, though.
Yeah, he's not taking a pay cut, and he's going to want to start somewhere else. And when you look at some of these other places that are going to need to have legit starting quarterbacks, like ideally, here's what's going to happen. A team like Philadelphia is going to go like 4-12, right? Through no fault of their own, they're going to blame Jalen Hurts, and they're going to want to replace him, and Jalen Hurts gets cut. I think the 49ers should pick up like a Jalen Hurts as a backup for Trey Lance.
Interesting.
Something like that.
That's intriguing. Jalen Hurts, I don't think he's skilled enough to start.
No, but he could be a backup. Right.
That's a good
And
one.
someone with athletic ability and who's going to run an offense that's very similar. If you have the concepts in there already.
Yeah. Burton Ernie's getting some laughs in the comments. Was Matt drinking Terrell Owens wine? Matt already drank that wine.
I did drink the bottle of wine.
We got to get more.
Yep.
I miss old Nick cartoons. Yeah, those are the best. We have the money, Sensei. We got to extend some guys, though.
Anybody remember that old Nickelodeon cartoon, David the Gnome?
No.
Okay, maybe it's just me.
David the Gnome.
Dude, that show was crazy. They were like always trying to not get eaten by cats and shit. It was like unusually dark for the time period.
That's crazy. It's like Ren and Stimpy. You remember Ren and Stimpy?
Yeah.
That was like
me and my wife just talked about that today, where it was like that show was legitimately made us uncomfortable. And so I went and looked at a clip and I played it, and it was Ren like pulling out the roots of his missing teeth from his gums. And I was like, oh, she's like, this is what I'm talking about. We turned it off after like 5 seconds. I was like, I can't.
It was really weirdly graphic.
It was. But you can get away with stuff back in the day.
Paulie asks, do you think someone like Street or Givens could be traded before cutdown or other defensive linemen?
I think they'll explore it. I think they'll definitely explore it to see if they can get something. But
they're deep enough.
But again, it's what do you want to give up when you know that they have to cut down anyway? Like you're just going to try to wait them out and then maybe try to give them the highest offer because money is less valuable to these teams than the draft picks are. So,
Sin says they're Eagles Nation blaming Jalen Hurts now. Yep. Steelers will probably win too many to draft a quarterback, and I think Ben's time is coming to an end. That's a fair assessment.
This upcoming quarterback draft is trash. Spencer Rattler's not going to be good, and I think Sam Howell's too short.
I do not like Rattler at all.
No, and from everything that I've heard, he's kind of full of himself.
He's a piece of shit, with all due respect.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, everything I've seen about the kid, clips online, social media, articles. It seems like the typical pompous asshole.
Sam Howell legitimately reminds me of like not as talented Baker Mayfield.
Ooh, I could see
this
that.
is going to be a real bad quarterback draft. And then there's like, I think the third QB is like Keaton Slavis from USC, who's also not very good.
Joey says Rattler is Dollar Tree Mahomes. That's great.
That's pretty good. I like that. That's really good.
Great value. Steve says greatest duo of all time: Beavis and Butthead, Red and Stimpy, Bert and Ernie, Zach and Matt, Pinky and the Brain.
It's pretty good.
These are horrible. Josh says Tyrod Taylor as far as a backup to Trey Lance.
Yeah, Tyrod's starting to get up there in age though.
Yeah, excited for the
solid veteran.
Excited for the new Spider-Man movie. Hell yeah.
Me too. It looks pretty dope.
Yep. It's fantastic.
It looks like they're going to do that crazy storyline where, what was it? The One More Day storyline that everybody hated because he made that deal with that devil villain Mephisto. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where everybody forgot who he was, but then it erased his marriage to Mary Jane and all that stuff.
Yep.
But comics have to do that stuff because they just have to reset. If you get too far, then it's like, oh, Peter and Mary Jane have like 4 spider kids, and it's just like it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Philly is way harsh with their ice balls with batteries in them. Jesus,
dude,
that's assault, brother.
they booed Santa Claus. Who does that?
People with no souls.
I have a friend from Philly, and he is the most abrasive person I've ever met in my life, but like in a funny way. He's hilarious.
Corey Wyatt says, "What can the team do with Hurst if he is out for a month? Like trade wise? I mean, probably injury settlement at most, right?
Yeah, they'll probably have to release him.
Yeah. People have said Lawrence has looked the worst of the 5. How would you guys rank the 5? I haven't watched enough, honestly.
I don't think he's looked the worst. If we're talking purely based off of how they look in terms of like overall, y'all ain't gonna like this. Lance has definitely been the most inconsistent.
Yeah.
The best looking one to me is Zach Wilson. Looks the best.
Okay.
Go watch the games. He's making hella throws.
He's looked good.
And, yeah. And then I would say, honestly, Mac Jones.
Okay.
And then I would say Justin Fields. The problem with Justin Fields is that he's running more than he's throwing. And that's no fault of his because that offensive line sucks. And they're running around like chickens with their heads cut off. And, and then I would say then it's Trevor Lawrence and Trey Lance probably last. Just because Trey Lance has been so inconsistent. And Lance also has that, he's up and down. He's also had a couple throws that you're just like, he's also the most rusty, though. And so it's to be expected. Like, it's not about who's like the best after this first preseason, it's about who's the best 10 years from now. And so in that regard, I think, again, Mac Jones, everybody said he was most pro ready. He looks the most pro ready.
Yep, that's true.
So
I agree with you, Matt. Zach Wilson does look good. Yep.
Yeah.
I cringe every time the JGGM is mentioned. Trent Baalke, I assume. All right, guys.
JGGM, yeah.
I think with all that said, that's going to conclude. Oh, the Jacksonville. Okay. Jacksonville GM. Yeah. Trent Baalke.
Yeah.
That's going to do it for this live episode of the Red and Gold Standard podcast. If you're watching, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you're watching on Twitter, hit that follow button. Our personal handles are on the screen. If you want to go follow us on Twitter, we love you guys. Thank you very, very much for tuning in. You can catch us Sunday after the game. We'll break it all down. Have another great time with you guys. Who looked good, who didn't, what were we impressed with, what do we want to see more of. Come back here Sunday right after the game. Matt and I will be here to break it all down.
Relatively right after the game. We'll let you know.
Within seconds.
Within hours.
Sometime Sunday. That's all we can do.
Dude, yeah, I'm moving. So I gotta pack and do stuff, man. Anyway, I lost track. Something or other, Acre Gold stamps on your envelopes, Tara Lowen's wine, yeah, all that stuff. But yeah, we do. Listen, guys, get us to 2,000. Let's give away this jersey. We really want to. We'd really like to. But you guys, we all have to do our part. All you got to do is click that subscribe button. Do it. You want to. So hopefully everybody comes out of the Raiders game healthy. Hopefully we see a lot of stuff going forward, and it's the dress rehearsal before the regular season. So everybody enjoy watching Sunday. We love having you with us. And until next time, go Niners.